Hey everybody, it's Pastor Karen.
I'm Pastor Stanton.
And we know leading up to our May 21st meeting that you have some questions.
So here's some answers, or something like an answer.
Or something like it, yeah. This is going to be a two-parter, friends. We're just going to warn you. So the question is, what do I say to those who say homosexual people are sinning and that it's against the Bible?
This is not a theoretical question.
This is not a
This is a
theoretical
question I have gotten from friends, family.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would ask, first of all, about particular scriptural examples they have in mind. Not to end conversation, but to open conversation. And that's, I think, the initial and most important part is what is the goal of this, what would be an awkward,
right,
maybe even a difficult conversation that I have with somebody. Am I trying to zip them up, or am I trying to take both of us deeper into a faithful conversation? So that's the first thing is I would ask, what exactly, what scripture are you thinking of? After I hear that, I'd want to engage with them. You might not feel terribly equipped about their particular scripture that they have in mind. So we want to give you, over this post and the next, a couple ideas for scripture you could have kind of in your back pocket for conversation, not to be right.
Right.
That's not what we're trying to, okay. So I would say, I'm interested in what Bible stories and teachings you mean. And then I'd listen. It's very likely, as I have found in these conversations, that they won't have a story on the top of their head though. Be ready to either listen and try to remember that scripture that they bring up, or bring up the example that you've thought through for yourself. So here's one, Genesis 18 and 19. Those are oftentimes used to claim the sinfulness of homosexuality. I'll let you look that up and pause us right now. Okay, now we're back. And but truly, Genesis 18:19, they get used a lot, but that's not a story about consensual, monogamous relationships. It's about rape and power. It's like a completely other thing than what we're talking about with this conversation. One other example for today, Deuteronomy 23. They have a list of acceptable and unacceptable people in Deuteronomy 23. One of the groups who are excluded from the assembly of the Lord, worshiping in the temple with the community, so this was grounds for ostracizing people, were eunuchs. It goes like this: no one whose testicles are crushed or whose penis is cut off shall be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. Not all of us knew that was in the Bible, I'll bet.
No.
A lot of people in 2023 use this verse to say, for example, transgender people should not choose to go through any kind of gender confirming surgery, because it says right there in the Bible. But Deuteronomy wasn't about transgender issues. It was about the ancient practice of using castration as a punishment. So by the time of Isaiah, that prophet, Isaiah, says eunuchs, who are typically men castrated to serve the Assyrian or Babylonian superpowers, Isaiah says, eunuchs are welcome into the assembly of the Lord. He says, this is the quote, "The Lord will gather the outcasts of Israel," Isaiah says, as he's referring to eunuchs. And then Luke, which is obviously way later, Luke, the gospel writer in his book of Acts, talks about the Ethiopian eunuch who asks, well, what's to keep me from being baptized? You might remember that story. And to his surprise, he is baptized. So he's included in the assembly of the Lord who are following Jesus. So that's an example of how things change over the course of Scripture.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they change their mind about scripture in scripture.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah, it's a little Matrixy or Inception-y, like those movies. Yeah. So we'll keep asking questions. We'll keep faith alive as we make our way toward May 21st.